Good morning, Tony Dattino. As you can see from my tea here, I'm at a vacation resort, but we're locked in right now because our weather forecast last night called for 91 degrees and sunny, and at 8:15 this morning we went from 91 degrees and sunny to 90 degrees and cloudy, and by 8:30 we went from 91 degrees cloudy to 91 degrees and rainy for 1 hour, and at 10 o'clock we turned around and we got to rainy and thunderstorms. So there's no place to go right now here at the resort, but that's okay. I do my Live with Tonys on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I have my t-shirt on for my workout in the gym because one of the things that we talk about that's an important habit and a skill or a thing we do is exercise. And more research continues to focus on the importance of exercise to our mental health, especially our memories. Now people ask why? Well, because the physical movement of our body helps, first of all, our flexibility and our muscles and our body's messaging system to the brain that says this body's moving, it's constantly alive. It's not just sitting and watching television. And there goes a burst of thunder, so we'll see some lightning come after that. But so exercise brings oxygen to the body, of which the brain uses 20 to 25% of it. So the better we are bringing oxygen into our brain, the better we are in terms of the oxygen that we're feeding to our brain. And so if you think of the fuel in a gas station, then we want the right kind of fuel going into our cars that allow us to operate the car in the most efficient way. So oxygen to the brain does the same thing. So the article, if I can bring that over to you, it talks about curb your enthusiasm for behaviors that can hurt your memory and other thinking skills. Benign habits can take a toll on your brain over a period of time. So when you talk about benign habits, it's things you may be doing that you may not realize are damaging your brain. And all I've been trying to do with the Live with Tony broadcast is to get people to understand there's some little tweaks that you can make in your day-to-day habits that can make a huge difference in your overall mental health as we continue to search for the cures of Alzheimer's and dementia and various brain disorders. What are some of the things that we can be doing throughout our life that can make a difference? And certainly movement. And so we talk about movement of the body and building its aerobic systems or anaerobic systems. You don't need to be a weightlifter. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, Arnold Schwarzenegger going in for the world, bodybuilding champions. But light weightlifting, working on your arms, some stretches, some, not stretches, but some knee bends and things you're doing for your thighs, one of the biggest muscle groups you've got in your body, what you can do for your buttocks, what you can do for your shoulders, all minor exercising we can do. Today they have bands. You can use bands and tie them to things in your house and do exercising with your bands, tie them around your ankles, and you can walk with bands around your ankles and tightening up your hips and your glutes and your butt. So exercise is clearly one, because then the contrary, we may be watching television, and watching TV is not a bad thing. The challenge becomes if all we do all day long is watching television. So again, as you look at people as they especially get older, in my age groups, we get to be senior citizens, we get Art Magazine for starters, and then the next thing we know is we're just sitting there and we're watching TV all day long. Or we're just sitting in a sitting position all day long, and it's not a bad thing to watch TV, but what I've learned to do is when I do some of my exercise routines, some of my stretching, it doesn't always have to be anaerobic, I am doing some of my exercises, so I'm not just sitting watching TV, I'm doing other activities. One of the other things I do in the evening are crossword puzzles, or I love in the Sunday New York Post. If any of you get the New York Post on Sundays, it's got a 12 by 12 Sudoku, which is mentally challenging, but it's, again, looking at patterns and looking at different elements of what the Sudoku puzzle brings to you. Keeps you challenged. The crossword puzzles on the Sunday papers. I am not a New York Times crossword person, but Sunday crossword puzzle. They're the bigger ones. They have more stuff to go through. All mental challenges that you can put through to your brain. Educational TV. Some of the TV stations, the History Channel, the Science Channel, National Geo. There are some TV stations that are educational, but can you combine the education that you're getting, the history, the lessons, the thinking that it generates, can you combine that with some movement, getting up and doing some stretches? So here we go. We want to do some aerobic. You go out and take a walk for 15 minutes after dinner somewhere. I sometimes, if it's like raining now, I'll go, we've got a stairwell here at the resort, and in the unit we're in, I'll just go up and down the steps 10 times. And you say, well, isn't that a little crazy? Yeah, so it helps my back muscles, it helps my glutes, it helps my aerobic as I go back and forth, 10 times. There's no reason why we can't do a few things even within our own house. I have the bands I put around my ankles, and I walk 10 feet to the left or 10 steps to the right, 10 steps to the left, 10 steps forward, 10 steps backwards, and it's working on my flexibility and my muscles. So exercise for the lungs, exercise for the brain, some weightlifting, all of it's talking to the brain, saying the body's moving, and exercise for flexibility. One of the things I'm doing more now is stretching out my calf muscles. I've been getting some spasms in my calves, and so I've gotten somebody to share with me some exercises for my calves and stretching it out, and not realizing as you get older how some of your muscles and ligaments in your body just start to lock up, so how you're stretching. So now we talk about that. Now we go to social activity. I've probably done a dozen activities, a dozen like the Tony's talking about the importance of social. Get up and get out. Being a homebody is not necessarily a problem, but some socialization should be part of your weekly routine. So sometimes we just want to be alone to our own thoughts, and maybe we want to meditate. Maybe there is a program. We just want to be alone. If you're watching sports, that we're into basketball, the hockey, baseball season starting, and now we're talking about football schedules and stuff. So there's plenty of the sports activities. So if you want to isolate yourself and just be yourself and learning what your sports. But what you want to make sure you're doing is at least getting out, for a little bit. I've learned in my life, I need to get out of the house every day. And that may just be walking down, 100 yards. It may just be out looking at the pond and see if there's a gator swimming about. It may just be stepping outside and listening to see if there's any birds. We have in our neighborhood snakes that go through the bushes. It's not that I want to go pick up a snake, but where are they crawling today? Certainly don't want to step on them, etc. But getting out and just looking for something in nature or something on the street. If you're in the city area, just who's out there today? What cars are driving by? Just find something that gives you a purpose of just walking out, knowing first, getting out of your house, looking out a window in your house, just looking at what's going on and picking up some of the socialization. In the resort yesterday, I enjoyed just watching the kids. They were playing music bingo, which the music, I'm not sure I could have named too many of the songs, but we played music bingo. It was just fun watching kids and their moms or dads playing the game, sitting around the pool and just enjoying the nice warm sun. So again, getting some social activities. Loneliness is the risk that you're taking. When you start to feel isolated or you feel alone or lonely, that's the downside of this. And research is showing that it has a negative impact on your emotions, on your well-being, and up here into your cognitive factors. One other one that we talk about over and over again is sleep. Guilty pleasures like staying up late or sleeping in are not going to ruin your memory, but most people should try to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep each day. So the article goes on to say getting enough hours as well as the quality is important for your brain. Now why? Because the science is beginning to show us that as we are sleeping, it's purifying the toxins and taking out some of the toxins that impact Alzheimer's and the creation of. And so there's some linkage between your sleep habits and what happens to your overall mental capacity. Without this good sleep, it becomes challenging to pay attention and concentrate. We all know that. Like we joke now about some of the trials going on, and people would sit in a court all day long and they doze off, and the impact it has when you don't have a good night's sleep. Now you're in a meeting, and you're trying to have a business meeting, and you're trying to listen to somebody, and it's an important meeting, and you need to hear what's going on, and you're nodding off because you can't focus because you did not get a good night's sleep. So what you want to do is get good quality, is to stick to a regular sleeping pattern throughout the week as best as you can, and I realize that each day is not going to be fixed in terms of 8 to 8 or 7 to 7. So just recognize that as close as you can to a normal sleeping pattern, that can make a huge difference. And that question is, well, how do you do that? And we all know we need to get good sleep. So how do we plan it and not build an anxiety over it? Because I know there's some people I've talked with, well, I know I need to get to sleep by 10 o'clock, but I go to bed just because it says 10 o'clock. Well, if I get to bed at 10 o'clock or 11 and I'm not tired, I'll take something out to read, I'll do a crossword puzzle, I'll do a Sudoku, I'll grab a book, read a chapter of it, and I find that it's just changing your focus. I'll count sheep. Just distracting yourself from the anxiety of I need to get to sleep provides a level of, okay, I'll do this, and then as I start to feel tired, you know what, shut the light off, roll over, and off I go. And we've got another week that's just gone by, and so we're at Friday, and it's weekend time, and people are out at graduations and celebrations, and getting ready to start summer vacations and planning what they'll be doing for June, July, and August, and we're at that point. So have a good planning session this weekend. Take some time with the family or some people and just say, hey, what are you planning for vacation this year? Or where are you planning to go? For the kids, how was your school semester? What were a few things you learned during school this semester that really made an interesting topic to learn about? Just see what you get, and building some social interactions and communication skills with people that you get to meet and talk with. And with that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.